guys, here's what I wanted to cover, okay? So you're on this, and you've heard a lot of stories. You've heard a lot of success, what the people are excited about. I'm going to get into how all of this that I'm going to draw out here fits into the Uline and how you're going to make a lot more money from it as I go through. I'm going to try to keep this as concise as possible because a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about you can actually learn in our products, okay? And I'd rather refer you to that training and just kind of give you a brief overview so you at least you have enough of understanding of how the engine of the car works to get it and turn it on like Dr. Steve was talking about, right? The first thing, though, is I want to talk about how to, conceptually how to build a really big income in any network marketing business. And I'm going to show you how to really put it on steroids if you want to do it with us here. And no matter what you're going to do, you want to lock in your spot here. There's that button over on the right. And we've literally been having people join like every 30 seconds in the last, ever since we put the countdown timer disappeared, the button appeared, it's been like people joining every 30 seconds. So you're literally losing your place every time someone joins. So you want to click that button, pull out your credit card, and lock in your spot. And if you don't want to do it, just get a refund and you can go do something else. It's fine, but this is still going to give you value. So this goes into what I learned back in 2009. And so many of you know my story. I'm not going to tell the full version. The short version is this. I failed in this industry for so long. Like I literally got to a place where I just had to make it work. I've been in for 7 years in different companies, juice companies, vitamin companies, soap companies, legal services companies. I mean, like I've done everything. You know what I mean? And I failed at all of it. And I got in because I had this dream, I had this vision of being able to like retire in 2 to 5 years and like go live the life I wanted. Well, the problem was 2 to 5 years. It was always 2 to 5 years out. No matter what time you asked, you know what I mean? It's like you get started. I got started. It's like when are you going to go live on the beach, Dave? It's like, well, 2 to 5 years from now. And then 2 to 5 years later, it's like, when are you going to do it? 2 to 5 years from now. And then they're like, when are you going to do it? And I was like, that's where I was in 2009. You know what I mean? A lot of you guys have been there, but maybe for a hopefully shorter time. Some of you have been there for a longer time, right? I'm going to show you what I learned, all right? Which, first of all, let me talk about this here. I'm going to talk about it quick and then come back to it, right? What are the prerequisites for really making a lot of money on the internet and in this kind of business? Really, this is true as an entrepreneur, okay? This is not just network marketing. This is true as an entrepreneur. Number one is you got to have a dream. You got to have a vision, right? Where there's no vision, people perish, as the famous saying goes. It's actually true. If you don't have a big dream, you are not going to make money doing this that's going to sustain itself, right? So I'm going to talk more about that later. You just got to have it. I'm assuming most of you guys have it, right? If you've got a big dream, you could just say, I've got a big dream in the comments, and we'll move on, right? The second thing, though, is equally important, and that's having a burning desire. And I'm going to say a burning, humble desire, right, to actually do the work and to do whatever it takes to have that dream, right? If you're willing to learn and you're willing to implement and you're willing to do whatever it takes with the resources you've got, we can work with that. We can help you succeed. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're humble like a little child, like you're just willing to learn and willing to do it, we can help you win, right? You got to have a dream. You got to have a burning desire. We'll talk more about these things later. I want to move on to process because that's what all of you are clamoring at the bits for, right? And then the third thing is you've got to have a process to be able to do it. So I wrote here simple sponsoring process. And the reason I wrote simple is because I'm going to draw out something complex but then show you how to do it the easy way, right? A simple sponsoring process, what do you mean? You've got to have a way of bringing people into your business in a way that's stress-free, in a way where you don't have to be tied to the phone, in a way where you don't have to like be working 24/7 for the rest of your life to do it, in a way that you're not wandering around, you're not stressed out trying to like go prospect and stuff like that. You got to have a simple way to sponsor people. If you don't, you're going to find yourself frustrated. Okay, like I found myself in 2009. Well, I discovered a simple way to sponsor that had people literally joining every day before I even woke up. And like on this webcast, I've sponsored like 8 people already on this webcast. And every time someone joins, it's like someone else just lost their spot. You know what I'm saying? So there's been a lot of spots lost. You want to lock in your spot and click that button now if you're on here. And we'll talk about what it is a little bit later on as we go through tonight. All right? So let me explain the simple process of sponsoring, and then I'm going to tell you how to get rich in 2016. And I'm going to show you how to multiply what I learned by 5. Now, what I learned was cool, right? And it works in any company. It works anywhere in the world. It works in any language, all right? But I'm going to show you literally, this is going to multiply it by 5 times, and I'm not making it up. I've proved it, all right? And if you're on this and if you're paying attention, like this is going to be one of the most important messages you've heard. If you've been in network marketing for 10 years, this is the most important message you've heard in the last 10 years. And if you get this, you are going to leverage to the hilt the next few months. And if you get this, you're going to lose some sleep, not because you're stressed, But because you're so excited that you can't sleep, right? You won't even need coffee anymore because you're just going to be pumped up by what you see in your future from what I'm going to describe. So you want to pay attention all the way through this because I'm going to show you how it works, and then I'm going to show you how to put it on steroids with this concept called the Uniline. And I'm going to tie this all together in the next, it's taking like 10 minutes to go through this, okay? Well, when I say 10 minutes, I might mean 4 hours, but probably more like 15 minutes. So you never know how long I'm going to talk, but let me talk about it. So what did I learn in 2009 that really had me break through? Well, I've been taught the same thing you'd all been taught when I first got involved in a home business, right? And that's what? The way to build this is you got to make a list of people you know, invite them over to a meeting, put in a DVD, or invite them to a hotel, do a presentation, right? And then do it again and again and again and again and again and again and again, right? Well, the problem was nobody I knew wanted to do network marketing, right? They just didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do a home-based business, right? And I wasn't the greatest example of it, so they definitely didn't want to do it with me. So they'd get in with other people and stuff because I was this broke guy always trying home businesses, right? I didn't have a good list. I didn't have a good sphere of influence, right? So I was frustrated still 7 years later trying to do this because I never ran into any other training but make a bigger list, call more people, and get better at it, right? And nobody ever told me how to build a great list, right? So 2009 rolls around, and I ran into this concept right here, right? Which is this. There are so many people that are out there right now just like you. Now, if you're on this, that means something about you. It means you want to make money, right? You want to make money now, and you want to make money from home, right? You wouldn't be on this if you didn't. You want to make money on the internet or you wouldn't be here, right? There is like literally millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people just in North America who are like you. Right? There are people in Portugal, as we see by our big Portugal team. There are people in South America. There are people here where I live in Costa Rica. I live in this like fantasy land. Everybody here, right? It's like people want opportunity, right? So I learned rather than how wandering around and stuff like that, how I could target people and get traffic from people who actually want to make money from home, right? So that's the first thing. I learned how to bypass all these people that were like giving me rejection and stuff, right? Because isn't that the thing that sucks? It's like people they say no, and it's like this big stress thing, right? So I learned how to target people, right, who are actually looking. Imagine if somebody was looking to join a business and they just found you, and they went through a process that made them join with you, and that's how you got people in, right? It's the most stress-free way of recruiting. It still takes work, but it's just stress-free, right? Because you're not going out and trying to convince people to do something they don't want to do, right? You're talking to people who want to do it, which is a big difference, right? So I learned this concept of just target marketing, right? Learning how to reach out to people who want to join, and they want to join right now, right? They literally are clamoring at their bits to pull out their credit card and buy. They're looking for an opportunity, they're looking for a leader, and they're looking to join now, right? And I learned how to talk to them, right? So I learned how to get traffic from them, which brings us to the next spot, which is building a list. Now, they taught me this all the time I was in home business, but it didn't work that well, right? Meaning they told me to build a list of all the people that I knew, which isn't a bad strategy if you know good people. I was not a good person. I was not a person with a good list, right? I didn't have this great list of people to talk to, right? So I learned how to build a list of people who want to join home business, who want to join now, and who want to join with me, right? Best thing ever, right? Because all of a sudden, rather than wandering around in shopping malls, it's like I was just like had ads wandering around rather than me, just at the right places where people were like looking to buy, and then I appear and they just buy with me. It was like magical sauce, you know what I'm saying? Like literally, I had people within 90 days of learning this, people were clamoring at the bits. I was getting on the phone with people, and they were like, David, I know you don't have a lot of time. I've got my credit card in my hand. I'm ready to join. I'm ready to join with you. Will you take my credit card, please? I'd be like, yes, what's your credit card number? Chris Rushlow, he heard the conversations. You can ask him. I've known him since we've been 12 years old, right? We've been in business together since 2006. So he's known me for a long time. He heard those phone calls, and he was like, you're kidding. You're kidding. You know what I'm saying? It was so exciting. It was unbelievable. So I learned how to target people looking, right, number one. Number two, I learned how to build a list of people who want to buy, right? So if you're on this page right now and you just got in, we're going to show you how to get a list of people who want to buy from you, right? And then here's the next thing that I learned how to do, and I talk about this actually in one of our products called the Top Producer Formula. I learned how to build a responsive list, meaning this is the problem that I had when I got involved in the home business industry, right? Number one, I knew a bunch of broke people. Number one problem. Number two problem, that's not necessarily the biggest problem, right? Because they could be broke and they could have a vision with a burning desire like I was in 2009, and then they're okay because they'll figure out a way. But generally, people that are broke have less money to buy stuff, and therefore they're harder to sell to, right? So if you're going to build a list, why not build a list of people that actually have the ability to buy, right? Learn how to do your targeting to people that they want to buy, they got a burning desire, they got a vision, they want to buy from you, right? And they got money to buy. And then all you're doing is showing up and literally closing the sale. And that's the easiest thing in the world. And all those things that you've learned, they work. It's like you get one and 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 you just can't stop sponsoring people, right? Now this stuff works in isolation. I'm going to show you tonight how to multiply this whole process by 5. And no matter what you're doing, this process, if you get it, right, which we teach in our products, it's going to show you how to make more money than you could even imagine, all right? And if you really want to get masterful of this stuff, you just need to get in and start plugging into our stuff, start plugging into our Monday night calls, start plugging into our community, and we will teach you how to do this stuff. So anyways, building this responsive list, right? What do I mean by that? I mean, you want to have, it's like the guy who has a Rolodex of really influential people, and he can call anyone on that Rolodex and they all pick up the phone, right? That's who you want to be on the internet, right? There's a lot of people out there, they market, and nobody opens their emails because all it's doing is blah, 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 blah. Look at my business, look at my business, look at my business, right? Well, I learned how to build a list of people that literally were like, they would refresh their email not to get a commission notification. They had another email inbox just for emails. They refreshed their email inbox just saying, when am I going to get another email from Dave? Like, when am I going to have an update from Dave? They would like be looking for an update from me because they wanted the information. They wanted to hear from me. They wanted to know what I was offering. They wanted to know when the next webinar was. I learned how to attract them like having honey with like a swarm of bees, and they were just jumping into that thing of honey, right? That's what I learned how to do, right? I learned how by giving them what they want, how to get what I want, by attracting them to pull them in to where they said, yeah, you know what? I want to give you my credit card. I want to buy right now. I want to get into your team, and I want to join now, and I want to work with you for the rest of my life. And that's why I've had people who have literally worked with me since 2009. I mean, if you look at some of the people on here, Chris has worked with me since 2006, right? I've got these loyal people around me. Toby talked about it, right? Why are they loyal? They're loyal because I love them and because I'm here to serve them and because I'm here to give them what they want, right? I'm here to give them what they want, and they feel it, and they know it from my emails, they know it from my calls, they know it from the value I give, so they just keep showing up and showing up and showing up and getting more loyal, and I'm getting more loyal towards them, right? All the time we're increasing our loyalty, increasing our bonds and friendship. So I've got a business that's built on friendship, that's built on trust, that's built on responsiveness from the community, right? This is what I learned how to do. Now, we teach you how to do this in our products, so I'm not going to get into a lot of it tonight because I want to show you kind of a big picture of how it works and then break it down for how you can really have your best year ever in 2016. And I'm just telling you, if you ain't in yet, the timer's counting down. People have been joining this entire conference, and you want to get in before that runs out and the price goes up, all right? Because I'm going to show you how to get really profitable from this and how to really run with this and lock arms with a team. Not just like getting in a business, but how to lock arms with a team who are running there with you to where just by locking in, be a part of it, we're all going to prosper more, we're all going to get a bigger vision, we're all going to step into a bigger future, right? So check this out. So building responsiveness, right? Now, once you have a responsive list and they want you because your value, because of what you're bringing to the table, this gets into sales process, right? How to sell things in a way that actually is going to get people to buy. How do you get people to buy something, right, from your selling process, right? That is the key to making all this stuff work. Because if you have responsiveness, right, like a lot of people have a list and they like open their emails and they love them and they're so thankful, but the list doesn't buy anything ever, right? Well, my list was so thankful, they open emails, they love being there, and they bought stuff too, right? So you want to have both, right? You want to have a list that is responsive and a list that's responsive with buying, right? Because you're in business, you know what I'm saying? Now, you might have different philosophies on business, right? But I believe that you should prosper. I believe that God kind of puts us here to have what we want, right? He puts things in your hearts, and you should prosper if you're doing the right things, all right? So I want people to make money. I want people to have a better life. I want people to step into a better future. I want people to have a bigger vision and prosper more and more and more abundantly and have more and more customers and more people buying stuff and be able to do stuff like I just did, where tonight I've sponsored like 10 people already personally. This is me personally. I've sponsored like 10 people on this webcast. We've had like 250 people join today already. So that means that if you wait until now to get in, you've already lost a whole bunch of spots, and you want to get in before everybody else gets in, just lock in your spot and hit the button beside the box.